It's that time again. Time for some real talk about real issues to enhance your real life. Whatever you think, whatever you know, whatever you feel, Tanya doesn't mind talking about it. Get ready for some real talk that is always rated R, because Talk with Tanya has got to be relevant. Talk with Tanya has got to be refreshing. But most importantly, Talk with Tanya has got to be real. Tune in right now for Real Talk with Tanya White.
Welcome once again to the Real Talk with Tanya White show. Happy April 1st. We are in the second quarter of 2025, and you had 90 plus days. What'd you do with those 90 days? Are you on track? I know we our new presidency is acting a fool, and so this first quarter has been somewhat surreal for our country, but we ain't gonna talk about politics today. Maybe we'll, maybe we don't. All right, we got a great show. Returning guest from my blog talk days. We used to have fun. He's back on this platform, Brian Ganges. We're gonna bring him on in just a second. But I want to say welcome to our new listeners. If you're a new listener to the Real Talk with Tanya White show, we kick it real talk. Rated R for being real relevant and refreshing. Continue to listen, share, and for my loyal listeners, thank you. Continue to listen and share and invite others to do the same. Listen and share. We want to thank our April sponsor. We have a sponsor, author Tina Siemens. Thank you so much, Miss Tina, for being our April sponsor of the Real Talk with Tanya White show. If you want to become a sponsor, you can email us at realtalkwithtanyawhite@gmail.com. You know, Tanya is spelled Tanya. White is in the color at gmail.com, or call 502-509-6053. But thank you, author Tina Siemens. You can check her out on Amazon. Get her books. She has several books, one called Seminole, the other called Little Sandals That Could. That is a children's book. And Post Oak. All right. Thank you, Tina Siemens, for sponsoring the Real Talk with Tanya White show. We got a great show tonight. We're going to talk to Brian Ganges. He's going to talk about his new lifestyle, how he lost weight. And we're going to catch up a little bit. I promise you, it's going to be some real talk. Welcome to the show, Brian Ganges. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you, sister, for having me. Hope you're doing well.
Listen, we are doing well because we are live in this world. All right. You are living a healthy life. We're going to get into that. And you've lost a lot of weight. And we're going to get into that. But before we get into it, I want you to tell our audience who may be new to the Real Talk with Tanya White show, and those who may have forgotten, but I don't know why they've forgotten you. Tell us who Brian Ganges is, where he's from, what you do, and who you are up to now. What brought you now? Okay, go ahead, Brian.
All right. My name is Brian Ganges, originally from Trenton, New Jersey. Currently
Jersey in the house.
There you go. Currently living in Austin, Texas. And I've been here for more than 20 years. I am a man on a mission. Mm-hmm. And what I mean by that is life has, I've been told, or we've been given the adage of the meaning of life. What is the purpose of life? What is the meaning of life? But until you actually discover the meaning for yourself, you'll always be chasing a meaning or a purpose or a definition of life. When I first met you, Tanya, years ago, I was always a good guy, but I definitely wasn't the guy that I am now. Biologically, I was same DNA, but as far as the progression of life, the unfoldment or the discovery of self, getting closer to God, just understanding who I am, what my purpose is, and just life in general, understanding people, the human dynamic, has been something that I've been, on a journey ever since we've met, and even before that. But now it seems to be kicking into overdrive. So don't want to get into a whole bunch of we can go rabbit trails here, but just want to kind of give folks a kind of an overview of who I am, where I'm coming from a not just a geographical perspective, but just from a spiritual, human perspective. That's who I am, and I'm continually on the journey, as we all should be.
Yes, that's what I was going to say.
What you're doing today shouldn't be the same thing you did 10 years ago, or the way you thought 10 years ago, or whatever it is. Unfortunately, we see a lot of people who haven't grown past 10 years ago, who haven't grown past 5 years ago. So you go back to where you grew up, and you see the same folks on the block or whatever. They just never left the block.
Yeah.
So I'm the guy that left the block long ago, and still running, and still going, and still building, and still expanding, and still reading, and still, keeping myself accountable.
Yeah.
I'm not always doing it perfect.
Yeah.
But I'm growing.
And that you said so much.
Rear view mirror.
Yes, you said so much about people. You shouldn't be where you were 10 years ago. We're not there physically. We're not there. You shouldn't be there emotionally. There should be a constant evolution, but always having the same groundedness of knowing who you are and knowing what your life mission is. And I know it was Blog Talk was 2009. So can you believe that's a long time ago. Met you when you were, I forgot what book was coming out. It's been so long ago. I'm in the 50 club. I'll be in the mid 50 club this year. I'll be double nickels.
I was doing the compilation with Elisa Gabrielle, the Soul of a Man.
Soul of a Man. Thank you.
Yeah.
And you've always been an advocate for not just people to understand the soul of a man, but for men to give themselves permission. First of all, to share who they are. And that was at a time where men, were just being talked at and, saying how they should be. We were not where we are now, with men being free to talk about mental health, talk about who they are as a man, what they feel, what's in their soul. So I commend you for because even with that project, the title alone, The Soul of a Man, I think that's what brought people to that book so quickly, because that hadn't been talked about. The soul of a man, what are you talking about? We don't talk about that about men. And so can you give our audience briefly your author journey, how you got into because it's one thing to say, hey, I want to write a book, but hey, I want to write books that are from the core of who I am, which is a man, you know what I'm saying? And to help other men.
Yeah. So I've always had an affinity for writing, reading books, just language. Majored in English literature in college. But I just didn't know what to do with it. I mean, I have this capacity to grasp the English language, to write, to speak well, whatever. But I ran across a lady in Houston when I lived there for a few years, and she connected me with Elisa. Elisa's in New Jersey. That's where I'm from. Mm-hmm. And weird that I left New Jersey. I went to North Carolina to college. I went to Texas. And then the person that I met that helped me write books was back in New Jersey. So when I was, so it's just how the world works and how things work. But anyway, all by design. But anyway, just having yourself ready, having a message, and when opportunity presents itself to people who are ready, you execute. unfortunately, a lot of people don't prepare themselves for opportunities to present themselves, so they have nothing to execute. So when you have, and everybody should have a desire that they're pursuing, whatever it is, whether it's, career wise, hobby, just some thing that you want to do with your life, hone your craft. Be the best at it. Know more about it than anybody else. Know it inside out. Know it like you know your name, like you know your social security number, like you know your address, like you know the names of your family members. Because opportunities will present themselves, and you have to be ready for them when they come, so that you can execute. And that's what I did.
Now I want to go back, because we hear that a lot. People, you got to prepare yourself for the opportunities to present themselves. And a lot of people don't, no matter how much they are surrounded by positive support, people to help them go to the next level, to be in those rooms and feel comfortable and confident when the opportunities present themselves. Why? From Brian Ganges, I call him BG, Brian Ganges' philosophy, why do you think people do not prepare themselves for the opportunities that, and we can go to church, they prayed for, they shout about, they do vision boards. That's my pet peeve. You write all this vision down on this board, and you refuse to execute and prepare yourself. Why? Can you answer that for us?
Well, I'm sure there's a lot of reasons, but I would answer it and say it like this. When you're confident in who you are, when you are absolutely, absolutely sure of what you are here to do, then you do that. Then you just be who you are. When you're not confident in those two things, who you are and what you want to do, you just you basically live a lie. You don't live the truth of who you are, the truth of why you're here. And people just, we can turn on internet right now. We can go to websites where people are doing just the dumbest things, pranks, just street pranks, just content creating, just doing stuff has no substantive matter to it. It's just content creation. It's making money. It's not benefiting anybody's life other than the person who's creating the content and making money. But it oftentimes it shows people as absolute fools. It puts you in a negative light. And so when that is your motivation, it's not substantive. What are you going to execute? I mean, how are you going to execute any form of godly, core purpose for yourself if you don't have a confidence in yourself, in your purpose, who you are, and where you are going? Can you imagine going to the airport and getting on an airplane and say, "Okay, pilot, let's just get up there and go. Let's see where we go today"? Doesn't happen like that in the real world. Airlines plan out their itineraries months in advance. They know basically how long it's going to take to get there, what time they're going to pull into the gate. Maybe they'll have a few minute, duration for repairs or whatever, but they have an idea of how long it's going to take to fly from Kentucky to San Diego. Because they've done it so long, so many times, it's like clockwork. They don't even have to think about it. So you have the peace of mind of knowing, okay, I got to get to the airport 2 hours early or hour and a half early or whatever it is. I'm going to get on the plane at this time, and 3 hours or 2 hours or 5 hours later, whatever it is, I'm going to be at my destination. That takes planning. That takes the airline knowing their job, knowing their responsibility, knowing the risk, knowing the personnel that they're going to need, knowing how much fuel they need, all those things. So taking that preparation is what's going to get you from where you are to your destination. The same thing happens and has to happen for your life. Where you are right now, to where you're going is going to require some things of you. But if you don't have a destination in mind, you just keep going in circles, going, coming, hanging out, getting crunk, being fly, tweaking and twerking, all that stuff y'all doing out in the streets, and you're not going anywhere. You look back 5 years, 10 years on your life, you're like, man, how did I get here?
How did I get here?
And
oh my gosh.
That's why people do and don't do what they do and don't do what they don't do.
And don't do. Listen, if you just tuned in, you understand why Brian Ganges from Austin, Texas. He's in Austin, Texas now, living over 2 decades. But he's from Jersey. He's a Jersey guy.
Yeah.
That was so powerful. And it is about the planning. And when you meet someone, and I have to take this to the workplace. I'm in a director role now. And so one thing about me, and I told them this when I first got there, I'm very strategic. I am a proactive, forward-thinking, solution-focused type of person. Because my philosophy is the way you live is exactly the way you lead, okay?
Right.
And so you can examine my life, whatever I do. People will say, Tanya White, yep. She's very proactive. She knows how to execute a plan. She's always planning. She's ahead of the game. And so if you're not that, if you're that type of person who just happy-go-lucky and does not plan for your life because you don't have a plan for your life, right? Mm-hmm. When people require you and hold you accountable to having a plan, especially at work, okay? Because they pay you a check, right, Brian? They pay you to do something. And they have a plan. You had a plan when you got that job, right? Mm-hmm. So you have to perform. And that's daily performance, having a plan, weekly, monthly. And so when you do not have that, when you feel like, oh, I can, I got 20 minutes left to work before I go home, right? And you just twiddling your thumbs, like we said, y'all heard doing nothing. And you don't plan you're not proactive. Then you get a little anxious when somebody is the opposite of you, just like your life. And so if you want to be a person who not only elevates, but evolves, you have to have a plan for your life. I like what you said, and do what you know to do. Because when you don't, life is going to pass you by.
That's right.
Life is. But other sectors in your life won't pass you by. They will cut you off and say, whether it's your job, your services are no longer needed. Whether it's a relationship, I'm leaving, I'm out. I called my doctor yesterday, tried to get an appointment. She doesn't have any appointments to 2026 February. Okay, put me down. Okay. I got a plan for that. Mm-hmm. She has a plan all the way out to February 2026, and we're only in March 2025. And so we have to be forward thinking and know that yes, 10 years are going to come quickly, but what am I going to do right now? That's right. Year one, to be 10 years down the line. So let's talk about how you.
Can I put a bow on? Can I put a bow on that segment right there?
Put a bow on the BG.
So the key word for your audience is a sense of agency. And that sense of agency means that you, for all intents and purposes, are the captain of your ship. Now, a lot of people, especially believers, will say something, oh, well, God's the captain of my ship. Oh, really? Now, God is the giver of life. Don't get me wrong. But the mistakes that you've made in life, the things that you did well in life. Now, we can give God the glory for the good things that we did. But at the end of the day, you are the executor of your plan. If you made a mistake, whatever you did, God didn't tell you to do that. God didn't force you to do that. If you did something good, God didn't get out of bed and exercise. You did. So while we give God the praise and the glory and acknowledge him in all of our ways, we also have to remember that we can't hide behind God. We have to take responsibility and say, well, God gave me the strength to do this. God gave me the will, the determination to do this. God gifted me to do this. But what we have to remember is that the doing is yours. Remember, God said that he was going to give us a helper in the Holy Spirit. Well, you only need a helper if you're doing something. So why would he give you a helper? That means that you have to be doing something. Agency, that sense of agency. And that's what a lot of people, especially believers, fall off the cliff on. And they just want God to just take the wheel and all that stuff that we say as believers, take the wheel, Lord, and won't he do it? And all that stuff. And it sounds good. It sounds churchy. It sounds like we're rubbing elbows with Jesus. But at the end of the day, you got to get your lazy butt out of that bed and go to work and do something.
And do what they pay you to do. That's whatever plan you have, you got to do it. You got to work your plan so your plan can work. Now let's get to your physical change. You have lost weight and got healthier since the last time we've spoken years ago. Tell us about the why behind your journey and the what you did to do it.
Okay. So as I said earlier, I'm a work in progress and, I'm a man on a journey and all that. I learned that life is a journey of learning. It's a life of relationships. It's a life of discovery, discernment. There's a lot of aspects to life. But what I came to realize is that, the idea of, it's my way or the highway, or this is the only way to do it, and all that rigid stuff doesn't work. Because, where I grew up and in my upbringing was a lot different. I learned when I went to college from a lot of other people. Doesn't mean my upbringing was better or worse than theirs, but it was just different. And so whatever their upbringing was, whatever my upbringing was, my friends and I, we all met at this one place, college. We got here different ways. Some were poor, some were rich, some were middle class, but, we all got there. So I learned, especially in college, that there's more than one way to do something, and maybe I could learn something from their experiences that I could implement into my life that may be able to take me further, or vice versa. I may share something with them. So I decided to be a little bit more open-minded in my 40s, my late 30s and 40s. And I started, delving into like meditation, not like I didn't want a religious experience. I wasn't looking for, just whatever some of these people are looking for when they, when they're talking about meditation. I wasn't trying to go out into woo-woo land and all that stuff. I just wanted to know how the mind worked. And so I was reading a lot of books and they were talking about meditation. And the one thing that I realized about meditation, many of the churches and many of the Christian folks that I had, connected myself with over the past, couple of decades or whatever, that was either something that we didn't talk about or it was taboo. And I found it very interesting that the very thing that I found much benefit in was the thing that church folks are afraid of. And so I was just, like I said, I was just looking for some understanding of how the mind works. And so I tried it and really found a lot of benefit in it. Again, I'm not trying to be a monk or anything like that. I just want to find out how the mind works. And with that, so let's segue into the next piece, which is my health journey. So, because that's a part of it. That was the first part of it. The meditation and just being open-minded to new ideas. And so that was something that I wasn't really.
You hit it on. You were open to new ideas.
Yes.
You never realize how closed-minded people are until you realize how closed-minded people are. And then it starts putting it all together why they haven't evolved or why you get so much resistance if you're trying to collaborate with them or if they're, your colleague at work. Open-mindedness is an essential skill.
Yes.
It is a very essential skill, especially as you get older, because you can be very closed-minded, set in your ways. But you have to learn how, just like you have to reprogram your mind and your body to do certain things, you've got to program yourself and your will to, hey, I will be open-minded. Because we get stuck in say, hey, this worked for me for years. I am the way I am, or blah, blah, blah. But you're closing off your mind. And when you close your mind and not open to what is happening, you close off so many opportunities and blessings and people that really God sent to your life to help you.
That's right.
But because you're so closed-minded, it doesn't work. So you got to be open-minded. Open-mindedness.
Absolutely. And I would also say to that, because some people will take what you just said or take what we just said about being open-minded and just run with it.
Yeah.
There's balance in everything. So what I would suggest people do is not just take what we're saying about being open-minded and just run lawlessly, freely, without any inhibitions. What I would recommend people is, first of all, you have to discover who you are and what your boundaries are.
Yes.
Everybody has a core belief system. Everybody has something that's their North Star. And it may be the Bible, it may be whatever it is for you. Stay anchored to that, because you always got to have something to come back to. Because if you go out too far and just keep going and keep going and keep going, and if you don't have an anchor or North Star to connect to, then who are you? That's the key. Who are you? So you can always discover more that's out there and be open-minded, but you got to have an anchor to something. And that's what I would recommend people, so they don't, because I know people who've been open-minded and went out there and just went so far out there and they got caught up in drugs, they got caught up in this, they got caught up in this scam, they got caught up in this because they didn't have an anchor to refer back to.
Yeah. And when you're not anchored, you are so scattered and you become anxious and, dare I say, desperate sometimes to what you want, who you want to be around, and try to makeshift your dreams. You may have a dream for this, but if you're not anchored, anxiousness will turn into desperation. Desperation will turn into manipulation sometimes. But Absolutely. You gotta be anchored in solid ground. And when you anchored, I believe when you anchored, BG, you also the closed-mindedness starts to disappear, because when you're anchored, you're saying, I submit to whatever I'm anchored to. And so whatever I'm anchored to, I am submitting my will and surrendering, because I cannot be my anchor. I cannot be everything. I need that. I just need to be rooted. And so you start to become more open. Do you agree with that or not? Because when you say, hey, an anchor is that I need help. You throw out an anchor because we need help, not to be like a boat. You throw the anchor down to be steady.
There you go. That's right. That's absolutely right. And it's a good metaphor, because we I think in life, I think God shows us so many things and we miss the lessons. And that's why Jesus taught things like parables. He taught simple stories like parables, because we have a tendency to miss the very basic, simple lessons with, just whatever it is. I mean, I can look at a sign on the road, stop sign, whatever, and it means something to me. For most people, it tells me to stop. Yeah, but it's telling me something else. So that's to me, in part, that's what open-mindedness does. It allows you to be open to receive or discern information that you might not have necessarily known before or were looking for, but you were keen enough, aware enough, had a sense of agency, we were talking about before, that you could see something that necessarily wasn't being said. And everybody else around you has no idea what you saw or what you heard or whatever, but because you're that person who's open-minded and anchored and seeking and available, you heard it. You saw it. You were able to capitalize on the opportunity because you were prepared for it. Everything's coming back full circle.
Absolutely. Now, and I made a mistake because I understood what you said. You understood what you said. A sense of agency. Let's go back, because some people be like, "What is he talking about?" And we want you to know what he's talking about. Because somebody be like, "Does he mean a sense of urgency?" No, he means a sense of agency. Define that. That for our audience.
The simplest way to define is what I said previously, and that is you are the captain of your ship. You are the one that determines what you're going to do, what habits you're going to implore, what's going to be your discipline, what's going to be your order, what's going to be your North Star. Are you going to get up early in the morning, or are you going to sleep in? You determine that. Are you going to dress like you got some sense, or are you going to walk outside with a bonnet on and house slippers and all that? That's a sense of agency. You choose that. And you can't blame God for the results that you get, because those are predicated on your decisions. God doesn't wear a bonnet. God doesn't wear slippers outside and pajama pants. And
listen, BG, you must be hearing what I be telling my students now. They don't understand why Miss Tanya says no bonnets, no satin claps, no wave cap, because the way you come into school, which is your job, preparing you for your future job, you don't know who's coming in there. And it's the where you present yourself to the world. So, but this society has made it acceptable. And so I know when I first came in that school, I was 2 years ago, and I was like, oh no, we will not wear bonnets up in here.
Oh, you too good for a bonnet, Miss Tanya?
Bonnets are for sleeping. That's what I said. Bonnets are for sleeping. When you come here, I need you awake and alert. And the way you present yourself is the way you're going to present yourself in the classroom. So bonnets, satin caps, wave caps, even the gentlemen, BG, are wearing these bonnets when they get they locks and stuff. And I'm like, take it off. But this is just school. This ain't the real. Take it off.
Now, what some of those folks would say about me and you, because we're talking about bonnets and wave caps and stuff, they would say, well, you're not being open-minded. Well,
yes, they did.
There's also a balance. They did, BG. Like I said, open-mindedness must be a close cousin to your reference point. Whatever your reference point is, you got to have an anchor. Now, what kind of reference point, what kind of an anchor is it if you're wearing a bonnet? And I'm not picking just on people that wear bonnets. I'm just giving an example of something that we all know and see in our community.
You can say pajama pants with the slippers.
Yeah, sagging pants, just coming out of the house with your hair not combed. I just saw a woman just a couple hours ago. She walked out the house, looked like Macy Gray.
Lord.
I don't mind natural. I don't mind natural. I like natural. I love natural. But I mean, come on, we can pick that stuff out with a comb.
Pick it out.
Y'all
better go back to the 70s with Afro Sheen.
The fist and Afro Sheen, all that. Yeah, come on, we can do better than that.
Really natural, but it was naturally tamed and it naturally looked good.
There you go.
So the system agency is knowing that you are the captain of your ship. And so whatever wherever direction you go is your choice.
That's right.
And so
you make the choice. That's the key.
You make the choice.
You make the choice. You can get up at 6 o'clock in the morning. You can stay up all night and play video games. You can text your buddies all night. You can slurp on syrup. You can do whatever you want. But those activities, you can do OnlyFans, whatever it is that you're going to do. You can do whatever you're going to do. But it's going to take you to a destination, and you can't blame God for how you got there. That's all on you, boo-boo. That's you. That's all on you. And we gotta accept that responsibility. You made,
and we gotta stop enabling people.
There you go.
Who've made their decision, and they willingly made their decision.
That's right.
And then when they get into a crisis,
that's right.
We want, whether you in crisis in the jailhouse. We can't keep blaming everything on the policeman. Because honestly, no, go ahead. No,
I was going to say that reminds me. What you just said reminds me of an episode of Good Times when Michael got suspended from school, and they said it was like 2 o'clock in the afternoon. They're like, Michael, what are you doing home? He said, I got suspended. They said, well, why did you get suspended? He said, because I'm black. He was like, wait a minute, what? That don't make no sense. You got suspended because you're black. He said, man, why'd you get suspended? And then line of questioning, you finally get to the point where he, said disrespectful stuff or whatever. But we got to stop making excuses. You didn't get suspended because you're black.
Come on now. By a black director and a black admin team. So you got suspended because you're black.
We got to do better than that. We got to do better than that. So it's because it's about your, and that just confirms what we were just talking about. Your actions, a sense of agency. You do the action, and then you get the corresponding result. You are the captain of your ship. You made the decision to sleep with 5 dudes and get pregnant and have multiple babies by multiple dudes. And, you shot your shot, brother. Yeah, these women are taking your money from child support because you decided to shoot that shot raw. You can't do that.
This is real talk now.
We're talking real, relevant, refreshing.
And refreshing. Come on. And we have created a society of not accepting responsibility.
That's right.
For our actions. Everything is else to blame.
That's right.
Lord have mercy. And I tried not to go political. But even in 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue, everything is somebody else's fault. It's the fake media. It's Joe Biden. It's Obama. And
he did it. They did
Democrat, it. They did it. And we got to accept responsibility. And when people are holding you accountable, you can't always saying they're against me. At work, if your boss comes to you and say, hey, I need you to improve, that's what they need you to improve. But it's the way they said it, BG. It was their tone of voice that I didn't like. Okay, but do you need to improve?
Well,
I think you need to improve.
Exactly. When I always try to tell people when they say something like, I don't like how you handled me, or I don't like how you said this. I always say, well, look, let me ask you a question. If we were walking down the street and I saw a car coming towards us, do you want me to turn to you and say, excuse me, would you mind stepping over here on the curb? Or do you want me to grab you by your shirt and throw you to safety? Yeah, you might skin your knee. Yeah, you might hit your head on the ground. And yeah, your clothes might get dirty, but you're alive. Or you could be splattered roadkill. Choice is yours. What do you want? So if you're upset because how I talked to you, or I didn't address you in a certain way, or I didn't say please or whatever, you're alive and well. Thank me. You're welcome.
You're welcome. Thank you. Thank me, because you need to be welcome. Listen, BG, we are overdrive. We got to come back, but we never did talk. I want to end with this.
I told you we were gonna catch up.
I know we're gonna catch up, and you're gonna have to be back because we gotta dig deeper into this sense of agency. That's my new language now. When you are the captain of your own ship, and when you're the captain, you're steering the boat. You can't blame the passengers because you're going the wrong way.
That's right.
You can't blame the passengers because you're going to go into an iceberg, captain of the Titanic.
That's right.
You are the captain. So
right.
we're going to talk about, we're going to have you back. But how did you, because especially our culture, big, beautiful, and loving it, we, all this stuff, but how did you say, make up in your mind, hey, I'm gonna take a health journey. Not only am I gonna lose excess weight, but it's because I want to be healthier.
Mm-hmm. So again, it goes back to the open-mindedness, because I never thought that I would be on the journey that I'm on. Mm-hmm. Back around COVID, I tried something I had never tried before, and that was I only ate salads and I didn't eat any meat. I did it for like a week, and then I was like, well, actually I did it for a day. That was really tough for me to do it for one day.
Especially being in Texas with all that beef.
Oh, I know. And so I did it for a day, I did it for a week, I did it for 2, I did it for a month. And I was like, man, I can actually do this. So now that was in 2021, something like that, 20 or 21, 21. That was in 21. And now since 24, I've been going on a year, no meat, no dairy, all vegan. I eat salads, I eat fruits and vegetables, seeds, nuts. And that's what I've been eating for a year. And I feel great. I'm wearing a size 32, 31 pant waist. I'm down 30 pounds. I don't look skinny. When I was in high school, I feel good, look good, I think. And it's just a journey that I wanted to embark upon. And I just said, if I'm the captain of my ship, if this is a sense of agency, then let's go do it. And so I've done it, and I'm enjoying it, and I'm learning more about my body. I'm learning more about the human body. I'm learning more about, what fuels me, what makes my body feel good. And, I also have to supplement because I don't get everything from fruits and vegetables, but I'm learning that as well. So I would, because I know people, some of our folks who can't stop eating chitlins and hog maw. And
listen.
So I just, come on, y'all. We got to do better than this in 2025. Y'all still eating that garbage. Now, don't get me wrong. I used to love me some neck bones. That was some good eating. But I just saw too many of us. And I currently know people, and this is no lie, this is true story. I know a couple of people who will take their high blood pressure medicine so that they can eat pig's feet.
Yep.
Like, man, are y'all crazy?
Yep.
Y'all not supposed to be taking that so you can eat the stuff. But
or the diabetic medicine so they can drink the whole pop.
Sodas and stuff. Man, come on. Y'all gotta. And there's so many, and the thing about it is, Tanya, there are alternatives like for drinking soda. Like if you want a soda, you can do something like you can get if you go to the restaurant, you can get you some soda water. You can order some soda water. They probably won't charge you anything for it. And then there's these drops, these liquid drops that you can get, and some of them are flavored like Coke, some of them are flavored like Sprite, and they don't have any sugar in them. They're flavored with stevia, which is a plant. And you can have your version of Sprite or Coke or whatever it is, root beer, and you don't have to worry about all those crazy calories and the sugar, messing with diabetes and all that stuff. But it all goes back to what do you want to do with your life? Where do you want to go? What's that destination? And it takes the planning. We were talking about the airport and the airlines earlier. It's all about planning. What do you want to do? Where do you want to go? What is the destination, or what is the ultimate goal that you want to achieve? Well, I want to be healthy. Oh, okay. Well, I'm just going to believe that the Lord's going to touch me. That's probably not how it's going to happen. I'm not going to say the Lord.
Don't you think the Lord is in heaven, BG, saying, I ain't said nothing like that to many of us. Like, I ain't said that.
The Lord got to reverse all these years of hog maw and Krispy Kreme donuts and all this stuff that we've been poisoning our bodies with. And the Lord is saying, look, you need to go back and look at what Daniel was eating.
Yes.
The Garden of Eden. And, and I know that the children of Israel, they ate fish and lamb. I get that. But they didn't have the problems in their day that we got today. So we got to do some modification of our diet. Thank God for the conveniences that we have of being able to eat 3 meals a day if we wanted to, because we have it excessive food, and we got meal bars and candy, and we got so much. We can get pre-made dinners at the grocery store for $10 and stuff that we just didn't have back in the day. But we also have to have that reference point, reference point to health, reference point to life. And if you want life, if you want health, if you want strength, longevity, then you got to make some different decisions and plan.
And know that you're planning. I love what you said about the airlines. They plan months in advance. It's just like a movie. Everybody's excited about Wicked 2026, but they start planning that when they did the first Wicked. Okay. And so it's going to take some time. You can't plan and expect immediate results, whether it's your health. You cannot say, oh, I'm going to stop this, I'm going to stop that. And you get distraught when you're not dropping weight or you're not being healthy. Your levels are not coming down just after 2 weeks. No, it's going to take some time.
Yeah. It took you time to build up to being unhealthy. It's going to take you some time to deconstruct the unhealthiness.
Absolutely. So you got to take plan. And I love a sense of agency. You're the captain of your ship. BG, we have been over 30 minutes, but I thank you. You're going to be back. Give the people your contact information and what's next for BG, Brian Ganges. I call him BG.
Well, so that everybody knows, I am a personal friend of Tanya White. So you can always find me on Facebook I'm connected on her friends list. So that's where that's where I want everybody to find me. Go through Tanya White to find me. You want to find me, go through Tanya White.
That's right.
And so what's next for me? So what I would say is I'm going to keep unfolding. I'm going to keep on this journey. I'm going to keep going. And I'm going to see where we're going to go. I'm going to stay anchored to my core beliefs. But I'm going to keep going and see where this thing goes. Health-wise, relationships, social relationships, business, some of my investments, gold just hit $3,000. I mean, that's an all-time high. So I'm always looking for new stuff. I got in gold at like 1900. So it's over 3,000 now. So, but I'm always looking for the next opportunity, whatever it is. Yeah. And I would say the same thing for everybody else. Find you some quiet time, some space just for you. Turn the TV off, turn the cell phone off, turn the TikTok off, turn all the nonsense off. You had it all day. Now it's at night, and when you get some time at night, you should be winding down, going to sleep. And before you go to sleep, just enjoy some silence and just see how your mind the images that go through your mind. And that should tell you, man, where am I getting all this stuff? That means you might need to back off on some of the stuff that you've been doing and maybe putting some better images into your mind, into your hearing, and into your sight for a while. And I'm saying you got to cut everything cold turkey. That'd be great if you could, but I know we have to de-escalate from things. But I would say give yourself a chance to grow. And you do that by cutting off the bad stuff. Maybe you can't stop drinking sodas completely, but if you're drinking a 6-pack of soda a day, drink 2 a day.
Mm-hmm.
And then try and get some of those stevia flavored drops that you can drop in some water or soda water, and try that. There's alternatives, but it's all about, do you want to be a person of agency, or do you want to make excuses? That's the only 2 options. Do you want to be a person of agency that makes a decision, or do you want to make excuses? That's the only 2 options.
And on that note, Brian Ganges, Austin, Texas, thank you for your reintroduction to the new platform of Real Talk with Tanya White. That's on YouTube, Facebook Live, LinkedIn Live. Brian, do you have a website?
No, I'm going to start a new one. Start a new one. Yeah.
Okay. Start a new one.
Haven't done it yet.
So you have to get with him on Facebook, follow him, go through my friends list, look at his posts. Brian, you have been amazing. Thank you for sharing you again, as you always do. You don't know no other way but to share you.
That's right.
And that's what I love it. And so connect with him. Again, thank you to Tina Siemens for being our April sponsor. Listen, if you were blessed by the show, share it on your social media, re-listen to it, encourage other people to listen to it and to connect with Brian. Until then, you guys, like I always say, love your life, live your life, and laugh through your life. Until next time, Brian, if we get cut off, stay on, because sometimes StreamYard cuts you off, or stays on, because we're going to debrief. All right. Listen, you guys, until next time,